Yes. Everybody, Russ on the West Ham network. We're in the dying embers of the Bristol City West Ham game. Bristol City still 1-0 up. Obviously, 10-man West Ham. Ben Rama getting sent off after 50, 55, 60 minutes, something like that. Maybe that's the last time we'll see beside Ben Rama wearing a West Ham shirt, to be honest. If rumors meant to be believed. We're in the dying embers. Hasn't been good. Lots of huff and puff, but no execution, and it shows. It shows an imbalance of the squad. So something we've been speaking about for so long in terms of how many players, with those three players not playing, we look toothless, and we do look toothless. And it's great to see the likes of Callum Marshall get his debut for the club, but it's too little, too late, really, and it's been a poor side. I think, in all honesty, obviously the victors will play next Saturday. It means after Sheffield United, we could possibly get we'll have another week off. 4 minutes. Don't know why he's put a 0. There's 4 minutes left to play, but obviously going through to the next stage means we play on. We'd have played either Forest or Blackpool on next weekend. We get a weekend off potentially, which could benefit us not playing again until Thursday. With being a FA Cup weekend, and by then you could have Bowen back, you could have Kudus back, you could have Antonio back, you could have Ben Rama back, and then we look at a totally different side. We look like a scratch side today. We look like a scratch side. We look like a side scrabbling around for some players. It looked like, like one of those Sunday league games where you turn up and you got like half the team. That's what it looked like. Lots of huff and puff, but no real. It looked like we haven't played together. And it's happened. See, Callum Marshall's had a go there. Fair play to him. It's a great ball. Unlucky. You've got, for example, there's been a couple of times this season where it's been like this. This game, I'm thinking back about Olympiacos as well, away, and also the home leg here. We could have easily beaten them, I think, at London Stadium if it was for a bit of application to it. I think some of it, nothing's going to happen, happy chappy. This is in essence not a free hit, but we can now concentrate on utilising our squad for the Premier League now. We don't have to worry about any cup competitions until March now. So I wouldn't say it's embarrassing. I think Bristol City have actually, they've outworked us. In essence, I thought across the two legs, they played better. They played with more passion, more fight, and they worked nicer, and they just played better. Bad tactics, playing back 5 substitutions. Where I think in all honesty, we played the hand we were dealt with. We really were, and to be honest, we shouldn't have been in this position. Not a free hit. I'm saying, obviously we know we're down to the bare bones in terms of what's the word? In terms of injuries and AFCONs and things like that. So when free hit, if we'd gone out and played well with this side today, it would have been good. It would have been good. And yeah, I think Emerson's played well. I think, obviously the sending off made a massive impact. I thought, from the first few minutes, Bristol on us. Then I thought we got into the game, but we just haven't got any. The front line haven't scored all season. Ben Rama, the last time Ben Rama's had a shot on target was scoring the penalty in the Europa League conference, I believe. The formation was a joke because he didn't have 3 CDMs. He played 3 centre backs. Yeah, you're totally right. Thought Moyes said it. Well, I thought as well, and that's why I thought when he went to the 3-4-3, I thought, oh, okay, and with Cornet, all right, but it wasn't a very good trick. Instead of playing Benny in Cam, playing Benny in Cam and Mars, he was never going to start with the kids. the way Bristol City have played today, they've bullied us. And I think if you played the kids, they got eaten alive at the beginning. In all honesty, in the way that they got eaten alive physically against Wickham in the Bristol Street Motors Trophy, the EFL Trophy. So I agree. We had enough on that pitch to win that game. Definitely we had enough on that pitch to win that game. But it's just we just couldn't. We were just poor, very poor, very very poor, and that's it. I think it's the first time for a long time where we have got knocked out of the third round. And as I was saying, in a weird way, it could benefit us because obviously now we don't play after Sheffield United until the 1st of February. So you've got a 11-day rest after Sunday's game because we would have played Bristol City, we would have played Nottingham Forest or Blackpool on the 27th, 28th, and then we'd have played Bournemouth on the 1st. So yeah, not good.
I see. I know what you're saying about that's us as half glass full West Ham fans clutching at straws. But it's no defending that tonight, and not what I mean. Nah. But that this is, I don't know how to explain it because I don't understand. Like it's problematic because the squad, again, it's highlighted the squad is crap.
Mm.
And it's really harsh to say that, but it's so true. Like we didn't even look remotely anywhere near it, Russ.
It looked like like a pub team where you turn up on a Sunday, and it's like, we got Bob, we got three. Who we got? Three centre. All right, we'll just play three at the back, and it just seemed like no one had played together. Yeah. That sort of right hand side in the first half with Sue, Fowl, and Cornet just looked like Cornet just signed for us.
But they were doing really simple things, right? If you watched Bristol City and you watch any form of coach that does like videos or coaching sessions that go online, right? Bristol were really good at this tonight. And West Ham looked like a team that didn't play together. And as that comment says, looked like 11 strangers on the pitch because we really did. But every time West Ham had the ball, one Bristol City player would drive towards that player. If he couldn't get the ball, the next Bristol City player would drive and the other one would go back.
Mm.
And all it was all game was Bristol move. And they were moving in unison, right? So one would go forward, the other one would go back. The other one would go forward, the other one would go back. When they regained possession, they would come at West Ham. But when West Ham done it, we looked lost.
Mm.
We did look lost. And it's concerning because it does highlight, again, I know it's a results business and it is, but if you look at the game as a whole, we controlled many moments of that game. We had many chances we should have put the ball into the back of the net. That's true.
Mm.
But essentially, if you put those chances into the back of the net, we should be doing a lot better, Russ. We should be. I can't understand the substitutions at the end. When you're going against the thing, Danny Ings has done absolutely nothing in that game. I don't know if something happened with Danny Ings when he came off because he was looking into the crowd and there was a bit of an issue there. And I don't know maybe if a Bristol City fan has said something or a West Ham fan's been in the crowd and said something to him, but it just looked like he was talking to the crowd and there was a bit of a focus on it there. But he didn't do anything, mate. I think he done one decent bit of play in the first half. And the frustration for me there is then we'll just give the two lads, we're backs against the walls anyway. And you've got to give them more than 10 minutes. I don't think you're throwing them under the bus. I don't think you're throwing them under the bus.
I don't think at the end you're throwing them at the bus, but it's almost like too little, too late. It's like, and we've been down that road before. I think about me, Paul Debeku, and he came on, and his career has been ruined since then. And there's we are putting a lot of emphasis on these, particularly these two, in terms of Mbama and Marshall, in terms of moving them into the first team squad. And so, and I get where people go, we should have played the kids, and it's like, well, if you play the kids and we lost 5-1 like we did against Nottingham Forest, we could ruin half a dozen kids' career because we've spoken to players who've done that.
But I don't even think it's like about obviously everyone wants to see the kids play and stuff like that. I don't want to see the full team full of kids. But I just think when you look at the lineup, I think the Ben Johnson substitution really sums it up for me.
did not get that one.
I didn't really get it at all. I don't think anyone got it. I didn't understand it. I didn't understand the mindset behind that. But by that point, Russ, the game was gone. The game was. It did feel like we were throwing it, and it, we didn't want it from the start. To be honest, I mean, it's got to highlight again. Like, listen. What was it? I put the picture up, didn't I, beforehand, and I showed what BBC had put up, and they showed the key absentees from West Ham are Alvarez. I won't mention Antonio yet, right? But so the key ones I would say are Alvarez, Bowen, Paqueta, Aguerd, and Kudus, and we really, really, really missed them. Like, we really missed them. But the concerning factor is this is what we're left with. And these don't look like they can string passes together. There's no confidence there. They look short of confidence. They look short of any. And do you know what? It doesn't matter if that team played regularly together. I don't think they would do well.
It's not. I mean, it's bereft of any. I mean, Ben Rama's fits and starts, but it's bereft of any sort of midfield. Joie de vie, in terms of, a Paqueta or or genuine sort of terrifying pace like a Kudus, like a Bowen. I mean, the fortunate thing is we probably don't have to have this situation again, hopefully this season, in that if we're led to be believed, Bowen's back for the Sheffield United game. If everything happens with the AFCONs, Kudus will be back in time, I imagine, for the Bournemouth game. Paqueta could be back in time for the Bournemouth game. Antonio could be back in time. Alvarez could be back in time for the Bournemouth game. So, the side that played today, I don't think you're ever going to see play in the Saturday. And it might be you never see Ben Rama in a West Ham shirt again.
Well, you might not see Ben Rama. You might not see Danny Ings. But again, equally though, what we're calling for is a bit of a big turnover of players, which I don't think is going to happen. We're not going to see that big turnover of players in January. What we can hope for best is genuinely, you have to look at shipping out Ben Rama for as much money as we possibly can, but not equally though lose the money. Again, what Dan said today made valid point. Tim Steiden's been brought in for a reason to try and really stop that issue of selling players on the cheap, etc., etc. And he's totally right about that as well. But at the end of the day, move that position on, move Danny Ings on, and I would rather, honestly, I don't know how many more times Danny Ings needs to prove what he's capable of doing without proving he can do it. And I would honestly just rather Mubama play over him any day of the week.
I think we all would. I thought he was going to start tonight. I thought, he didn't fancy Danny Ings anymore. And, the fact is there is interest in him. And I thought, actually, it makes sense not to play him, but he came on the other day, didn't he? So he's cup tied now, so he might as well fucking play him, So
and do you know what's interesting? Matt's just put in the group chat there, but I completely agree with Matt. Like, Courtney did have a good. I've seen some comments coming and slagging off Courtney. I thought Courtney actually played quite well, and he was quite dangerous on occasions as well. And okay, it was the FA Cup, etc. But yeah. I'm confused when it comes to our non-starting 11. If we have a fully fit starting 11, we're all quite happy, but we know ourselves. We can't rely heavily on that, and this is highlighting how bad our squad is.
And then the next thing is, why is our squad so bad? And it's like there's the whole rotation thing which we've spoken about. There's motivation. But I just think genuinely, they're just not good enough. They're not good enough. And yes, they were good enough 18 months ago, but we've moved on. We've got a better squad now. We've got a better first 11 now than we had when Fornals was playing every game, when Ben Rama was playing every game. We've got, Kudus, we've got Bowen, we've got Paqueta, we've got some very good players. And they haven't lived, they're not living to the second billing, and I think that's the issue for me now. It's like we've seen it, we saw it when we played Olympiacos in Greece, when he played a weakened side, and they just didn't do it,
But I can't understand it. Like I don't. it's a tough one. I'm kind of left a bit speechless, to be honest, because I'm really disappointed we're not through. We looked at the draw for the fourth round, and a favourable home tie against one or the other from the other game, where on our day with a fully fit team, we could do a good job. But I'm just praying that we are looking at this situation right now, right? And we have been looking at this situation, and all the work is getting done behind the scenes to bring in much needed quality. I'll accept 2. Let's be realistic. We want 4 or 5, but let's be realistic. I'll accept 2 quality signings, because I think that's it. That's the minimum we need to bring in.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, in all intents and purposes, you cannot blame David Moyes for Mavropanos passing the ball back shittily and then scoring. There's certain things you can't blame Moyes for.
I think there's this right now. West Ham fan base are in this crazy mindset of when we win, it's about Moyes, and when we lose, it's about Moyes. It's kind of got like, I think someone put a tweet on today. Who was it? Was it Dan? Was it Dan Lawless? And he said something like, "I'm just so, as much as he's outspoken, as much as we're all outspoken, he's just so fed up of, like, when Mourinho was sacked, it became about Moyes. The West Ham fan base made it about Moyes.
Yeah.
When someone gets injured, we make it about Moyes. When something happens at the training ground, it's made about Moyes." Yeah. I'm just using that as Russ, if you played the wrong song at halftime, someone would blame Moyes. Do you know what I mean? I'm just saying, either way, it's about Moyes.
I've always said, when was the last time that I could watch a football match and not make it a political debate after the game?
Yeah.
Because it is win or lose, isn't it? And this will rest on Moyes. There is what people, some comments. There's no way David Moyes is getting sacked tonight, so don't worry about that. That ain't going to happen because it ain't. It just
the
isn't.
question I would ask to people though is, when I look through that squad, right? What different team would I have put out there? Honestly, in all brutal honesty, what team? The only changes I would have made from looking at from our team tonight, right? And I'm looking at our bench, and that's the strongest bench we put out tonight. I believe that's the strongest bench we put out tonight.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. The only change I would have looked at there would have been Mbama for Ings.
Yeah. I mean, the fact is...
Realistic.
I think, realistically. And I think, if Fornals hadn't got a knock, I think he would have probably started, maybe instead of Ben Rama.
No, but I'm talking about what was available tonight.
Yeah, I know. That's what I mean.
Putting on paper what we've got available tonight and what we had available tonight. But questionably Johnson as well, because I actually think Johnson's been playing right, okay. Yeah.
He's played all right the last few games he's played.
Yeah, absolutely. But so Johnson and Mbama would be the only 2 real changes for West Ham tonight. So if that's our squad, if you're blaming Moyes, are you blaming Moyes for the history of not preparing for this moment of when we lose our players? And that's the part, so for example, we shouldn't be in this situation of having a lacking of squad depth. But we do have lack of squad depth. And it's easy for me to say I'd love to see Casey, I'd love to see Marshall, I'd love to see Scarles, I'd love to see Mbama, but it was never going to happen, and not many managers would do that. And there was times where we didn't even... It wasn't a low block game for West Ham.
Yeah,
it wasn't a low block game for West Ham.
And I think Drainhole sort of sums up. This side lacked. There was pace. It lacked confidence. It lacked football brain. And I totally agree. It looked really pedestrian. It looked really one-paced. There was no, we were trying to pass our way through long. There was no nous. There was no footballing. It was, for all JWP was trying to do, he's not going to beat 3 men like Paqueta and dink it in the top corner, and that's what we miss. And we missed that. We've missed that since he's gone. He's been injured, and it's only been a game and a half, really, or ish. And Yeah.
No, but this we lack. Can you put that last comment up, Russ?
Yeah.
We lack pace, confidence in any football and brain. Once Paqueta, Kudus, and Bowen are gone, Fanny's things look like he was throwing his higher. But equally though, I'm not making excuses. I'm really not. But I don't really know many teams that could suffer 3 key forwards.
You say that.
Like you could look. No, but you could look.
Look at
Russ,
Liverpool. If Liverpool lost Salah, they bring in Jota. If they lose, Nunes, they bring in Gakpo. If they lose Diaz, they bring in, Elliott. So they do. We haven't
right. Okay, right. You've used Liverpool as an example, and that's fine, right? But Liverpool fans may question Nunes.
They might,
and also may question Elliott to a certain extent. But you could move on to other teams as well. And I'm not trying to make excuses, but let's look at Arsenal.
Yeah.
Like three key players. I don't think they've got 3 players to replace them.
They'll have better. They're just as good. Just not as good as say Saka. So if what's the name? If Martinelli was injured, they bring on Trossard. That's a good replacement. If Saka was in, they might drop in someone like Smith Rowe in there. If Nketiah gets a knock, then Jesus. So they do have all options. It's just we've got our options are Danny Ings, Cornet, and Ben Rama. Neither of them have scored this year. And as I said, Ben Rama's last shot on target was the Europa Conference League final.
But equally though, a lot of the players you've mentioned haven't had chances from other teams. I'm not trying to dig. I'm just trying to say that when you lose 3 players that have been involved in 35 goals for West Ham this season,
totally.
Not many teams are going to return from that, and that's going to be a struggle. But if we can somehow pray that the news about Bowen could be true and he could be okay for the Sheffield United game, the outside chance that Paqueta could be back quicker than what we thought.
See, I wonder.
Could be knocked out of the fucking AFCON.
Yeah, that's going to be based on on Thursday. We're all going to be praying for Mohamed Salah to score some goals from a West Ham perspective. But I wonder, in terms of particularly the whole Bowen rhetoric, that's only come out in the last 12 hours, 24 hours, really. I reckon that was always going to be the case, and I reckon they threw that in because in case we didn't got knocked out. It's always because like it's just come out, isn't it? Like randomly, and we've had over a week and a half of him being injured. It's all right. He's fine. He might be back on Sunday, and he gave it to Steinberg as well to do it.
I want to say I'm not making excuses. There is no excuses for tonight. I don't think Russ is making excuses either. I'm not. I think we've just it turns into the Moyes battle. But out with that, tonight's game is no excuses. We lost the game. We're out of the FA Cup. We're out of the cup competition. We had 57% possession, and we had 11. I think it was 11 shots. But really, I think it was only the first half we tried. Like, do you know the other thing as well, Russ? I don't get is see when they've got a shaky keeper or a shaky defense. Whenever an opposition team comes up against West Ham, we never test them.
No,
we've done it so many times this season, and O'Leary, for as much as he made a very, very good couple of saves, one in particular was a fucking brilliant save. He was shaky. He was shaky, and we've come up against goalkeepers and defenses like that this season, and we've never, ever tested them. But we just seem to do this long ball thing, especially when we don't have the Paquetas and the Bowens and the
it's stock, isn't it? It's our stock. It's always like muscle memory. It's like Antonio still up front. That's like always the likes of Cresswell, Soufal. That's what they do. They just hit it long. And it used to be Antonio would run those channels, and that's like their muscle memory. And we just again, it was exactly the same as the home leg. We got outfought. There was no fight. We had, yes, you could say Bristol City were a dirty side, but we know they're going to be a dirty side, so let's put it on them. And and that's the trouble.
But there is a difference. No, I know. No, I agree with you to a certain extent because I was like that as a player. Like, I'm not saying I was dirty, but I was very aggressive. But there's a difference between that and being dirty. Like, I've seen that tackle on Danny Ings. That is dangerous. He does get the ball, but he's over the top of the ball.
Yeah,
he's over the top of the ball, and he could have destroyed. All jokes aside, people will comment and go, "Oh well, his career was done anyway." Danny Ings, but you could ruin someone's like livelihood with that. Then obviously the player swinging his hand at Creswell, and Creswell's holding on to him, pointing to referee, going, "He just swung at me," and he blatantly did. But yeah, interesting. It's an interesting one. I can't begin to understand how we've got ourselves into the situation of having no strength and depth when a couple of years ago, do you know what, Russ? We've completely switched and changed over 3 years. We were a squad of maybe 15 or 16 players. We are now, over the last 3 years, a starting 11.
Yeah.
So exactly. It's as if in order to get the Kuduses, the Paquetas, and Alvarez's, we've had to take the hit elsewhere. It's as if we've had to do that hit, whereas before we had 20 or 16-ish good players that would come in and step up to the plate, but we've not got that.
I just want to. It's the worst pile of shit I've ever seen, and you will not expose them. In all honesty, I remember losing to Wrexham in '92. On the replay, I remember losing to a lot of work. I remember us scraping through Emley in the FA Cup. Bristol City, mid-table championship side. We should be beating them, and we didn't. I think
people. I do think you're right there, though. I think a lot of people are treating this a little bit like Kidderminster, which we struggled against.
We did,
to be fair. And we got the last couple of minute goals from here that shall not be named. But at the end of the day, respect to Bristol City, they brought the game to West Ham. They won the physical game, they won the mental game, and on the night they scored off of a terrible pass from West Ham, from Mavropanos, whom the jury's still out. With all due respect, the jury is out on my behalf on him, but we definitely need defensive. Holy shit, defensive. Issues.
Defense is
everywhere.
You got to think. If we're looking at sort of the second coming of Moyes, so to speak, we were winning games 1-0 and not conceding anything, and that's what kept us up, and that's what got us to 6th really in that following year in COVID. And then it's sort of that season we finished 7th. We were conceding more goals, but we were scoring. And then last year we were conceding and not scoring, and so our defence has got progressively worse. And we look toothless in the midfield without Alvarez playing. Yeah. He's the glue in that midfield, and when he's not playing, JWP and Souček just aren't up to it. And that's not, and that's why I've always said we do need another CDM. Doesn't have to be a world beater. We just need someone who could come in, because Alvarez will get bookings. He will get knocks because he's in the central midfield. He's a CDM. He's going to get knocks. He's going to get kicks. He's going to get yellow cards. Just to keep that momentum going. Because again, this is a completely different formation again today. And it's like, yes, they have had a few days to work on it, but still, it's like, what the fuck? Sometimes it's best to, I know he moved it around a little bit and tried something different, but it just didn't work. It didn't work. Yeah. And we've all been saying the lack of, squad depth, regardless of whether you think, he's not playing them. Ben Rama's a shadow of himself as a player as he was. So's Fornals. They are shadows of themselves. And the squad should have been refreshed already. We shouldn't be in this situation, and we was probably tissing about so much of the Declan Rice situation. Thinking about, we at the beginning of the season, we thought we had a good squad on paper. But as Brian Clough said, you never win anything on paper. It's on the pitch. Yeah. Just didn't, and, the likes of people say, Fornals, he's been ruined as a player. And I know he didn't play today. But it's like I said to someone, does he get ahead of Alvarez? No. Does he get ahead of JWP? Probably not, because they spent 30 million quid on him recently. Souček, possibly, but Souček still has got 8 goals in his this season. So when he keeps on scoring, he ain't going to get any.
Obviously, I see, and I feel like we need to do a bigger show on what I'm about to mention, which is West Ham's expenditure, because all I seem to get in the chat, not from everyone, but from a lot of people, is that Moyes has spent this amount of money, and we should be a lot better than where we are. but I feel like people are basing that upon, I don't really know, because I'm looking at all the stats of the last years since David Moyes has been at the club, and it's exactly where it should be. And every club is also there. In actual fact, there's a lot worse case scenarios. There's a lot of worse teams in worse situations than us right now, who have spent a lot more, and it's all relatable. I mean, Leeds are there, 11th place. Look where they are. Southampton are there in 14th place, but there's definitely more into that story than David Moyes. For me, it's bigger than just David Moyes spending £500,000. It's not just, £500 million. It's not just David Moyes that's done that. It's every football team has spent a lot of money, and relatable to the size, to the income, to the size of the stadium, to what league they're playing in, and everything's relatable. So if you're talking about West Ham, then you've got to talk about Wolves. You've got to talk about Arsenal. You've got to talk about Bournemouth. You've got to talk about Leeds United. It's not just West Ham going, oh, we're spending £500 million and we're going to be there. We're going to be there. And you're right, Maltese. Do a video on Bristol City's spending compared to ours over the last 3 years. But we could equally do a video on Kidderminster, who took us to the 90th minute in the FA Cup. I'm not making excuses. It's the FA Cup. I want to win it. I wanted to win it more than anything. It was the tournament. I'm disheartened. I feel like crap. I feel like shit. It's crap. It's crap. It is crap, Russ. Can't make excuses for that.
No, it is shit.
Gutted, mate. I was gutted for the Carabao Cup, and now I'm gutted for the FA Cup. And now I'm sitting there going, I just wish we could still be. We could have had, we could have been in a quarter final and then got a fourth round at home, getting through to the fifth round of the FA Cup, last 16 of Europe, top six in the Premier League. And then teams look at you, you get more money, and you think, well, invest more into that squad. Battle on all fronts. You can.
Yeah. I think there's, the thing was, we got to the, as I said, in terms of Europe, the idea is we could put, the idea was putting that to bed till March, and we had put that bed till March. Now we're not even in the FA Cup now. We've got half a dozen, Premier League games until we play in Europe and again next. And
and this as well, I'm bringing up other teams only because people keep talking about the money. But how many sold their home to rent a council house? I'm completely there. But equally though, nearly every single fan was sold that dream, bar very minimal amount of people that was led by a good friend of the show, Nigel. And if I had met Nigel probably genuinely 4 or 5 weeks before, I would have joined that crew and I'd have gone hell for leather on social media. Because I was teetering, and I didn't know you, Russ, back then, but when I was part of the group that we were part of, and I was constantly messaging, I was just starting to get the vibe and stuff like that. So everyone fell for that. Everyone fell for that. That's just a whole other topic.
Yeah, that is another topic. And it's one of those things where, unfortunately, that's done now, isn't it? And that's always something which gets brought up when we're looking at stuff. I mean, the fact is, we do look at, because we always try and put a balanced view. We could go and rant and rave, and what we say, people talk about rotation, when people talk about not developing the youth side, when people talk about investment in the club, we do try and look at everything, and we do try and look at other clubs, because actually it is proportional. The world is, I was talking the other day about looking at transfers, and there was a guy that we linked with for 10 million quid, and I said that's probably pump money now. 10 million quid's pump money. Yeah. It really is on a decent player, half decent player. 10 million, it's like you're looking at 15 million's probably pump money now soon. Yeah. And so it's like the world has changed on. The thing is, we fixed, because it's a lot of money. It looks 500 million is a lot of money, but it is, and a lot of it has been spent poorly on people who have since gone as well. And and we could have a million shows about this same topic. But on that, so Moyes spending all that money is okay because other teams do it. Well, you have to take into consideration other teams, because what are you judging it on? If you're judging Moyes spending £500 million and not producing what you want on the park in terms of excitable football, then I understand why you're pissed off. But if you're judging it on results and pushing up the league and bringing in the quality of players, Paqueta and Kudus and other players, and trying to get results, i.e. winning a cup, whatever, then you have to bring
everything into that equation. I just don't buy the whole kind of Moyes has had 500 million and we should be winning the FA Cup. Yes, we should be winning the FA Cup, but you don't have to spend 500 million to win the fucking FA Cup.
No.
You just have to go for it. And we've not gone for it. That's
No.
what this game is down to. It's not down to 500 million pounds being spent in the market. And that's the argument. I mean, in the same amount of time that we've spent 500 million pounds, Bournemouth has spent 250 million pounds. So for me, it's relatable.
And Bournemouth haven't qualified for Europe 3 years in a row for the first time ever in their history.
But it sounds like we're making this a really big negative when we're not. I'm just trying to bring it to the table to go, if people are going to say that, then I think we do need to do another show and have different opinions on and bring the facts to the table for people to make their own opinion on it,
Yeah. No, it's true. I think it's an interesting debate. There's a lot of interesting. I mean, I've always I want to do a show about the West Ham way as well, because I think there's, we always get hit over the head with that as well, and I think there's different definitions of that, and I've had plenty of discussions in the comments with Ruby Tuesdays and various others about that, and there's lots of interesting stuff, because that's what we try and do. We try and get everyone's opinion on it. We get people who are indeed. I would have had Downs over, so yeah, fair enough. I mean, it's, you look at it now with Connor Coventry gone. I know they had to bring back Schweier from Crawley. You're thinking Downs would have got a shout. I don't understand.
He was being interviewed today on Sky Sports.
A recall,
like properly interviewed from Sky Sports today about Southampton's push, and they actually asked him about leaving West Ham, and he said, "I don't have any regrets. I want to go and play football. I love West Ham, but I want to go and play football." And we're now pushing. I mean, they're pushing up for the top of the league, so it's worked out to be a good move for him so far. But I don't think Fornals was his name. Downs will be coming back this season anyway.
No, I don't think you'll see him back. To be honest. I think, that's shit. I generally thought they bought him to sort of keep the homegrown quota, because that was the season we bought, a lot of foreign-based players. We bought the likes of Skamaka, Tilo Kira. We bought these guys in, and it was almost like Downs was a bit random. 10 million quid again, pump money, and Jordan Hugel money, and it was I think just to get that homegrown quota in there, and I still think you'll end up seeing one or two going through as well because of that. But yeah, no, it's just it's shit. We're out the cup, and now we've got Sheffield United away to look forward to the weekend.
It's gonna be like, oh god. Oh, if we lose to that, I can't handle it. I couldn't handle it. I might retire from fucking doing this shit. Honestly, I would. Listen, I don't want West Ham to lose. I don't want us to ever lose a game. I hate that. I hated that today. I hated it more than that hits that does hit deeper than the Fulham loss 5-0. The Liverpool one hits. The Liverpool loss at the Carabao Cup and this loss tonight hits deeper. However, I started to be depressed in the 45th minute of this game today. I knew we were going out after 45 minutes of playing. So
you got that feeling, innit? You just got that feeling.
So I prepared myself for 45 minutes that this is what was going to happen, and it has happened. And we are where we are, and the panic base of the fan base is just. I get social media.
But it's their it's your prerogative to react to how you want to react to the game. As I said, some people will rant and rave. Some people will also say, where was it? Let's move on. That's all we can do. And you're totally right, Hammer Boy. You're totally right. We can only move on, but we need, this same thing happened in August. It's like when Declan Rice had left, and we needed something. We needed a boost, and then we saw a picture of Tim with Kudus, and saw a picture of Tim with Alvarez, and that's what we need now. We need something. I think we need something through the door, just to get us all, not get us on board, because there's clearly a divide in terms of the backing the manager, but it's for us we need a boost.
It's very rare. It's very rare we get called that, mate. It's very rare we get called that.
Really? Wow.
Very rare we get called that.
Yeah. As I said, we'll be lucky to get Neil on. That is a consideration to, if we're led to believe that Bowen is back in time for the Sheffield United game. And then we won't play again until Bournemouth on the 1st of February. That's, in essence, a week and a half. We could get a situation, as I said, the last group stage for the Ghana is the 22nd of January. So Kudus could potentially be back for the Bournemouth game. Paqueta could be back potentially for the Bournemouth game. Antonio could be back for the Bournemouth game. Alvarez could be. It was just a knock, so you imagine he will be back. So I think we might have to only just suffer this for one more game.
Yep.
And then we'll see what happens.
Yep.
And then
we'll see what happens. We've had so many fun times, and I don't know what it is. It's just losses just hit differently now than what they used to, because we were so used to losing quite a lot.
Yeah.
But it's true, though. I don't think it's social media either.
No.
So again, probably another show we could do. Has our expectations been raised?
Yeah, I mean, Harry Boy makes a good shout. We are sixth in the league. We go. I mean, that's the narrative we've all been, you and me particularly, been saying. It's like, yeah, and maybe it is. Maybe our expectations have increased now. As you said, we have. And I know people keep. We've spoken about the comparative spend. We have spent, £500 million. We have, but we have qualified for Europe 3 times in successive seasons. The first time ever we've done that in history. We have won a cup now. Maybe we've got a taste for it. Maybe we just want. Maybe we are more expectant. I don't know.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. It's interesting. It's interesting.
Remember, third place in the African Cup of Nations. You can go through because they look for the best
three.
Best three.
And if that happens, we will play. And if that happens, Ghana. If Ghana go through on third place, they play the winners, which will probably be Algeria in Group F, on the Saturday. If they finish second, they will play the second group team from Morocco's group. So it could be Naif versus Kudus if they both finish second. I don't think it will. I think they'll lose against Egypt, and then they'll just won't give a shit about against Mozambique. Because then I know what happens. Because it might be a situation, although third can get through, by the time the second games are finished, we'll be able to see if a win will be enough for them to go through as third place winners. Well, I feel you do have a balanced view. You do bring facts, and that isn't people having a go at you guys. You seem to be offended when we lose when you lose with comments, and then take joy when we win. Reality beats. Yeah, I mean, we do. We always try and do facts. That's us, isn't it? Some people work off instinct. We tend to look at facts and figures.
Yeah, but I am pissed off when we lose.
Oh yeah, I'm pissed off we've lost.
That's what I don't want to be confused with. Because there's been times where I've done this and we've lost, and I've been really annoyed and pissed off at the performance. But then the chat becomes all about David Moyes, and for me, there's been times where we need to talk about other things than that moment. So why have we not spoken about the performance from Fornals, who's not stepped up? Ben Rama's not stepped up. Equally, then the decision falls on the manager. Why are you choosing him? All that sort of stuff. But we don't have strength and depth, and then that takes it into another conversation and another whole element of things. So I don't get offended by the comments. I get annoyed because I just want to talk about what's actually happened. So I don't know any West Ham fan that would not be pissed off tonight.
No, totally.
Who wouldn't be?
Well, every fan's pissed off when we lose. And it's one of three results that can happen: you win, lose, or draw. And we always are. If you win, you're happy. If you draw, you. And if you're
that's funny. Sorry, can anyone explain why Crazy got a booking tonight? Surreal says for being useless.
Yeah, exactly. What will happen is Maltese. Everyone will carry on, and then
Absolutely.
when the next manager comes in, there's going to be the people who are already Moyes in will then be already anything that happens. Oh, Moyes wouldn't have done that.
That's
Moyes
the thing, though. That's what people need to be prepared for, because it will be as fucking mental. Because there'll be the other people out there that will be looking at it, going, I really hope no Moyes out fan wants West Ham to lose. And I really hope no Moyes in fan wants the next manager to lose, because I think that would be absolutely fucking mental.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
yeah.
It's like people were calling about Mourinho. If you're pissed off a Moyes ball, Mourinho ball, come on, it's even worse. He's just as bad. You know what I mean? It's like, yes,
Who
he's a
the fuck? Sorry, who's Filippo? Who are you, mate? You're
who
just
is
getting a little.
Filippo?
I don't know.
I
He's getting a
can't.
little.
I
You're
know.
getting a little time out, mate. You're getting a little time out.
Good old
Don't you get
Filippo.
on, mate. You're a little time out, mate.
But yeah, it's and that's just the nature of life, isn't it? People, no one's going to be 100% happy all the time. There's not going to be 100% of the fan base. I guarantee. And actually, even when we look at someone like, I remember when we had Flav on from Spurs. You know, when we were talking about Ange, he was like, "Do you know what? I'd love it to just shut up shop once in a while. It's like doing my heart in all these games. Yeah, it's exciting, but my heart's literally in my mouth for 90 minutes. And it's like, I'd love us to just take the lead sometimes and do 1-0 to the Spurs. And it's like, I get that. And, you know, for all that, everyone's, you know, so there's Liverpool fans, you know, Klopp, you know, he was going for a really rough patch and people were saying Klopp out. Look at Arsenal and Arteta. You know, Arteta out and we're laughing at them. And people are looking at us the same way, isn't it? The media thinks we're the same in the terms of what it says. So it's, it's always a debate where you'll have two sides of the story.
I love how West Ham have advertised this loss tonight on the West Ham website. Ted Manhammer's exit FA Cup. Got to get the 10-man in.
It's already giving it away.
I'll tell you what, though, we dominated the ball after Ben Rama was off. That was the crazy thing.
Done for them, wasn't it? It's done for them, didn't it? Yeah. Done for them. But
it is what it is.
Oh
mate.
well,
it is what it is.
Oh well, a few days to Sheffield United.
Yep.
And
we've got another half a month to go until the window closes. So
yeah.
Is that the end of Danny Ings? Is that the end of Ben Rama? And will we see some new signings in?
I think it's the end of Ben Rama. I don't think it's the end of Danny Ings.
Yeah. Oh, God.
I don't think it's the end of Danny Ings. Not at the moment. Not at the moment. I think with that, if I was Wolves, if I was Crystal Palace, and I watched that, would I want to get him in? No. Not at all.
Well, do you know what? If I was Crystal Palace, who have players who put the ball into the box non-stop, I possibly would want to get them in because we're never going to play to that style. We're never going to play to his style. So I think there is teams out there. I think Danny Ings is
he'll go whoever he goes to, he'll score goals now because and then it'll be Moyes out but it will be. But it said he was never bought by David Moyes. I genuinely think that was a Sully special, that one. And we were excited when Danny Ings was signed. We thought this is great, you know, a proper striker.
We were excited until we found out how much he was getting paid.
Yeah. Indeed.
The Ben Rama fall off has been monumental. Like I can't fathom what's going on with the player. Like
it was last year. He was off it last year, really.
But he's it's even worse. Like he's not showing anything at all. Nothing. And he's not been doing it for such a long time. I can't, I seen someone talking about Jota today, the player that used to play for Celtic who's out in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
Like, getting rid of Ben Rama and bringing in Jota makes no difference, in my opinion, because Jota's very weak. He's a weak player. He's a good technical player, but he's weak, and that's Ben Rama's problem. He's really weak. He's a good technical player who can do a couple of take on a player, but he can't take on the second player, and he can't whip that ball into the box and cause the damage. Obviously, his stats look really well, but I think it's got to spell the end. And I think West Ham were right today to knock back that deal from Marseille.
Oh yeah, I agree with that totally.
But we need to try and generate some business. Steiden, go out there and do some business and bring as much money as we possibly can for him. So, or just turn that deal into an obligation.
I think if they do that, we'll go with it.
Yeah,
because I think you're going to get 20 million back off a player who's past his best. He's 28 now, so he's past his prime as well. And I mean, we paid 30 million for him 2 years ago, something like that. So I think 20 million is a good deal. And yeah, I think we do well for that. And There's an obligation to buy, same as what we did with Tilo Kira. It's sort of basically buy now, pay later type thing.
Yeah.
So we'll then get that money because we can get an advance off Barclays like we did with Declan Rice, second chunk of money before Arsenal paid it to us. We had to pay like $1 million, I think, in terms of that facility, but we just got the 30 million back from it. So yeah. Yep. And he definitely won't play this. Well, he definitely won't play on Sunday. That's it. Sure, isn't it? Straight red. 3 games, isn't it?
Doesn't really impact us though, does it?
Well, I mean, so the ironic thing is he won't be able to play until mid-February now.
Yep.
Because after this weekend, we don't play again to the 1st, and then it'll be the following
11th.
Week. Yeah,
is it 11th? Something like that, isn't it?
Something like that. Yeah.
Well, there you go. Oh, no, it's not. It's the 1st in Man United, and then the 11th. Yeah.
So yeah, that's
I don't think I've got the energy to.
No, I think we might have done well for 50 minutes, to be honest.
Fucking hell. Well, thank you very much, everyone, for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the running commentary of the game. I really struggled, as you all probably did as well. And yeah, that's me and Russ dissecting the game in a depressing manner. So yeah, I don't know what else to say. I try and get up for every single West Ham game, but you can always tell within 5 minutes of what it's going to be and what we're going to do. And I think we could tell that today. Bristol City were up for it in every single challenge. They were winning it. They put the shitters up, every West Ham player. They put the shitters up as well. And
yeah, they did.
A couple of times we held back in tackles and stuff like that. But we had chances. We couldn't penetrate that ball into the back of the net. We don't have strength and depth. But the season's still not right off. Yet.
Not right off at all. And as I said, we're back on Sunday. Hopefully Bowen's back. We know Ben Rama won't be playing. So maybe might even give I mean, I thought, Marshall came on 15-minute little cameo. Thought he did all right. I thought he did it's his debut, he got some tackles in, he put a cut. He was unlucky with a nice ball, crossfield ball to what's his face, to Mbama in the dying embers of the game. But yeah, we'll see what happens, isn't it? We'll see what happens.
Yep.
It might even persuade them to sign someone now. We know Benny's not going to be here for 3 games.
Someone? Sign a player?
Please.
We will.
Hit the like, don't forget.
Absolutely. Much love, everybody.
Bye. Ciao for now.